when I go to floor this hallway. It's going to be a unique challenge. I'm probably going to have to tear some up. Alright, so we're back inside, and before I get going on the linoleum again, I'm going to demo out one of the walls. So this wall here, we're going to take this out back to here. This is actually the chimney, and we're leaving that in for right now. If I start getting into that, that's really going to hold us back from moving in, so I'm going to leave the chimney for right now. I could knock it out down the road, but it's not a priority. But this wall's going to go. It's serving no purpose for us. So I got a light switch that I'm going to have to move down the road. No big deal. The thermostat, which is about the only thing that was running when we got in here. The batteries must still be good on it. And gonna have to move the cold air return. So none of that's really a big deal. So yeah, we're gonna get this wall out. And here is the new tripod. Super excited about this. I was using it earlier. What a world of difference. And it actually goes taller than that. I think if it's fully extended with that little, what you might call a gooseneck extension, reaches about 8 feet tall. That's amazing. The only problem is trying to reach the on button when it gets up there. So probably not going to use that too often. But yeah, no, it's great. And yeah, thank you, Elaine. You made that possible. So let's get to it. The smell's getting so much better. It's getting hard to remember the mask. Almost done with that. So at this stage, I'm not just going to bang stuff out with the sledgehammer like I typically would. I want to operate with just a little bit more finesse. Part of the reason is I haven't actually tacked the ceiling back up first. Probably would have been smart to start with that, but I'm going to start with that tomorrow. We'll get there. It won't be an issue today. And I'm going to try and get this wall where it belongs to just continue it straight around. So I've already got the drywall cut off in the right position on the other side. And I can see there's actually a 2x4 directly behind this, which is very convenient. And just to address something that's very likely to come up in the comment section, this is not a load-bearing wall. So this is strictly cosmetic. This isn't bearing anything. It's straight truss over and it's continuous throughout. So this won't affect the integrity of the building at all. So I forgot to bring my multi-tool, so I'm going to do my best to do these cuts here. I got to make an incision in the top plate and the bottom plate along this, and I'm going to try and be as gentle as possible. I'll sacrifice a tiny bit of drywall top and bottom, but that won't matter in the end. So now, as I take it off, I'm going to be gentle to start because I don't know if they have drywall backer on the other side. Because the trusses are running this way, there shouldn't really be any running along this way, but there might be one at the very end, in which case I'm going to try and pull it this way and turn it to get it out, but that really depends on how this part comes out here. I don't believe they have a whole lot attaching this. Might be some drywall repair involved, but we got to do that anyway. So I just want to take a second to point out the tape they used. If you can see on here, this is actually a mesh, and the stuff is nice for repairs and for people who aren't very comfortable taping because it doesn't leave bubbles. But it's not what you should be using on an entire surface like this ceiling. It just doesn't bond as well, and it doesn't hold up over time nearly as well as using a traditional drywall mud tape. So and the other issue is because they did such a terrible job on the ceiling as it is, you could see every joint. So this ceiling was clearly redone at some point, and when they redid it, there's very few fasteners on it, so it is very weak. So I'm going to have to actually trace out where all of the ceiling joists are. I'm going to re-tack it, and I'm actually going to go over the entire thing with a veneer of 1/4 inch drywall. That way we can get some proper mud joints on there, because trying to go over this, not only is it going to be an absolute nightmare trying to make it look right, we're going to wind up with massive joints that will show in the end. So it's just going to be a better route for us. So before I continue on with the linoleum, I just wanted to address something I saw in the comments from yesterday's video. Saw a few comments saying, why not just go over it, the linoleum, with another layer of something, or why not just remove everything and replace all the subfloor? So the first part of that, why not go over it? My answer to that is that solution is a lot of why I'm running into a lot of the problems that I am. You know, the mentality of, you know, just go over it, just go over it. You know, it creates layers, and those layers can, you know, build up and cause other problems. Ideally, you know, a nice floor surface will line up with other floor surfaces. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge for us, because we've actually got multiple layers, and I'll show you real quick. So over here where we were demoing, you'll notice we have this layer, and this layer underneath the hardwood, and they're all at different elevations. So when I go to floor this hallway, it's going to be a unique challenge. I'm probably going to have to tear some up, and we're actually going to make it one level surface again. But the ideal substrate, finished substrate, when it comes to flooring, is that everything transitions on the same plane. And that's what I'm trying to achieve here. So even in this bathroom here, if I go to tile it, I'm going to do my best to have the finished tile line up at the same elevation as the hardwood. You know, it eliminates the need for thresholds. It eliminates, you know, any toe kickers, things like that. So that's the ideal situation. So over the years, it does become a bit of character in older houses, but doing a substantial renovation like we're doing, the proper solution is to get everything at the right elevation, so that, you know, everything's fluid throughout. When you see that in older houses and it's considered character, it's because, you know, the renovations are typically a bit piecemeal, a little bit here, a little bit there, and, you know, you see it develop over time. That won't really be the case with this house. You'll see a little bit of the original elements of it. Oh, there's Henry. A little mouse just ran by. You'll see, you know, some of the elements of the original house, and, you know, that's nice and for character, especially on the outside. You'll see quite a bit of it. But the inside, because we're gutting out so much, it will be substantially changed. Now the other solution, why not just rip out all the subfloor and start over? I have two issues with that. First of all, a lot of what I'm trying to do is salvage as much as possible and save as much money as possible. And, you know, if the mentality becomes just tear everything out and start over, well, it really defeats that goal, and you know, costs really start to rise substantially. The other issue with that is that to tear out the subfloor, it kind of cheapens the structure over time, because the subfloor actually goes underneath the walls. And to replace that, it would no longer be joined to the walls. So you'll always have a, I mean, you can put little scab pieces in, and you know, you can hang it pretty nice and get it looking pretty okay and feeling okay. But it'll never be the same seamless subfloor again. So it's nice to avoid that if possible. And because, you know, this is my house, I plan to live here for a long time. Heck, you know, I'm thinking about picking out a little plot on the property for my grave. I mean, I don't feel like moving again. So, you know, if I'm going to be here a while, I don't mind putting in the work rather than the money, you know, when it comes to certain things. And, you know, that goes for the copper as well. I had a lot of comments about, you know, just go PEX. And at the end of the day, you know, I do use PEX on site quite a bit. It has benefits. But the benefits aren't long-term, and there are downsides to using PEX. And I believe I made a comment on that second plumbing video addressing, you know, a bit of that. You know, there's pros and cons to both copper and PEX, but in the long run, copper lasts much longer than PEX. It has a better track record for that. We don't anticipate any freezing conditions. The biggest benefit long-term with PEX is that it's a little more robust when it comes to freezing temperatures, but if it freezes, it will still burst given the right conditions. So it's not invulnerable, and it has its own issues. So I prefer copper for myself. I'm willing to put in the time, and when you factor in getting decent joints with PEX, the cost isn't, there's not that much savings going with PEX. And you know, especially because I'm using the traditional copper joints, they're actually quite cheap. And personally, in my own house or any construction I do, I don't typically opt for PEX, plastic PEX joints anyway. I usually go for something a little bit better quality. And once again, you know, that boils down to longevity and, you know, how much I'm willing to back my work. So yeah. But let's get back to the video. That's enough of my gabbing. Don't pause it. So we're gonna get started inside here with a bit more linoleum tear out, and just expect that for the next few videos. It's a very tedious task, and I'm trying to span it over a few days just to make it a little easier. I got plenty to do in here, so I figure I'd do a bit of this and a bit of something else, and it shouldn't be quite as bad. Hopefully things go well today, and everything comes out good and easy. Well, that was the toughest square yet. I really hope that this isn't a trend, that they get harder as I go. Oh my goodness. And this is why I want to take it off in chunks. One bite at a time. Oh, I think it's Oh, well, that one was slightly better. Although I think the squares I'm doing are a lot bigger than the ones I was doing before. Also not a bad thing. Whew. All right, let's do another. All right. Oh, I'm getting a little hungry. And you scrape through the layer and it actually looks really nice on there. Look at that. That was some tough work. All right. All right. So, got it as clean as it needs to get, I guess, so I don't spread a whole bunch of mess around the house. Let's have a look at what we did. So, got quite a bit of linoleum up. I'm thinking 2 more days like this and it'll be done. I'm just going to keep spreading it out and, just chip away at it rather than going at it all at once. A lot to be said for sanity. And this wall's out. What do you think of that? And I'm just going to step back because I was admiring the view from here earlier and I couldn't help but notice, man, it looks so much more open now, even from back here. So I'm thinking, because this is going to be a dining room, and in that floor plan that we saw, this chimney is actually rather unfortunate. But she had a dining room table here, and this door I think might be an issue. I don't recall what she had in the floor plan, but I think maybe we could remove the door and put a patio door, like a sliding door in instead. That way we don't have to worry about the inswing of the door if we do have a table there. So let me know what you think of that. And another thing I can get your comments on, I did see a few comments saying, save a piece and frame it. And I gotta say, I've been staring at this pattern so long, it's kind of growing on me. But I'm thinking, yeah, I could just frame a piece. That's kind of boring. I want to do something creative, something interesting with it. I got some pieces here, and when I get some time down the road, I was thinking I might have maybe a little display case of just little things to remember the house and what it was. And maybe I could line the back of the display case with that, or even just take out some of the nice tiles and have them around. Either way, maybe there's something fun we can do with it. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. I'm always open to ideas. We like them all. It's really cool getting so much input. So yeah, if you like what you're seeing, like, share, subscribe, you know the drill. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. I'm going to get some dinner. I'm hungry.